In 1969, the moon was a symbol of victory, a distant world touched briefly by human boots, planted with a flag, and then left behind as the Cold War cooled and priorities shifted back to Earth. For decades, the lunar surface remained quiet, a silent monument to a bygone rivalry. But history has a way of circling back. Today, the moon is no longer just a destination. It is becoming strategic high ground. The China National Space Administration and Russia's Roscosmos have signed a formal agreement to jointly construct a permanent scientific base on the moon, the most ambitious lunar infrastructure project since the Apollo era. It is called the International Lunar Research Station, or ILRS. And unlike the short missions of the past, this is designed for permanence. This was not a vague announcement, not a symbolic press conference. The two agencies signed a memorandum of understanding on behalf of their governments. That phrase carries weight. It elevates the agreement beyond cooperation between scientists and engineers. It transforms it into a state-level commitment embedded in foreign policy and national strategy. This is not discretionary funding. It is a political bet placed on the future of lunar infrastructure. The memorandum outlines cooperation across every phase of the project's life cycle: planning, design, development, implementation, and operations. That scope matters. It binds both nations from blueprint to execution. It suggests sustained funding, long-term coordination, and shared technological risk. And while exact budgets have not been publicly disclosed, the breadth of the agreement signals something unmistakable. This is meant to endure. Within months of signing the memorandum, the project moved from diplomatic language to structured planning. A versioned roadmap was released. A formal partnership guide followed. At the GLEX 2021 forum, phase development was outlined: reconnaissance, construction, and utilization. Publishing a roadmap with version numbers is not symbolic. It is organizational. It invites accountability. It tells potential collaborators where to plug in and gives analysts a framework to measure progress or delay. A dedicated online portal was created to distribute partnership materials and technical documentation. That infrastructure, modest as it may seem, serves a strategic purpose. It lowers the barrier for additional nations to participate. The ILRS is not presented as a closed bilateral project. It is framed as a platform, one that could attract countries seeking an alternative to the US-led Artemis Accords. And that is where the story widens, because this lunar base does not exist in isolation. NASA's Artemis program aims to return astronauts to the moon under a coalition model heavily integrated with commercial partners. Dozens of nations have signed on to the Artemis Accords. Now, a parallel framework is emerging: two lunar visions, two governance models, two strategic blocks. When rival coalitions pursue the same objective, competition accelerates timelines. Funding becomes easier to justify. Milestones become political currency. First landings, first construction, first extraction of resources. Each achievement carries symbolic power. But ambition on the moon faces a fundamental obstacle: energy. Lunar nights last approximately 2 Earth weeks. For 14 days, solar panels sit in darkness. Temperatures plunge. Any permanent installation must survive extended periods without sunlight. Large-scale energy storage is one solution, but another has been openly discussed by Chinese officials: nuclear power. The possibility of deploying a nuclear reactor on the lunar surface has been acknowledged publicly. If realized, it would represent the first nuclear-powered base beyond Earth. Such a system could provide continuous, reliable energy, solving one of the most limiting constraints on sustained lunar operations. Yet this solution introduces profound engineering challenges. Transporting a reactor requires heavy lift launch capability. Landing it demands extraordinary precision. Shielding must protect equipment, and eventually humans, from radiation. Maintenance would occur in vacuum conditions with no operational precedent. Waste management must be addressed in an environment where resupply is neither simple nor routine. None of these obstacles are trivial, but the fact that nuclear power is being discussed openly suggests the concept has advanced beyond theoretical study. If China and Russia succeed, they would establish a capability unmatched by any other lunar program currently in development. Such an achievement would not merely solve an engineering problem. It would redefine the scale of what is possible on the moon, and it would intensify the competitive landscape. Nations that have not yet committed to Artemis now face a choice: join the US-led coalition or align with the ILRS framework. Governance models differ, technology sharing agreements differ, political alignments differ. The competition for partners may ultimately benefit scientific output by forcing both sides to offer attractive collaboration terms. But it may also fragment lunar development into blocks with incompatible standards, complicating future interoperability. As the ILRS moves from documentation to hardware, perception will be shaped by information control and transparency. Official summaries emphasize cooperation and scientific purpose. Costs remain largely undisclosed. Timelines are framed in phases rather than fixed dates. In centralized information systems, subtle shifts in wording can signal meaningful changes in scope. Ultimately, rhetoric will matter less than visible milestones. Robotic precursor missions, technology demonstrations for in-situ resource utilization, launch schedules that align with published roadmaps, hardware placed on the lunar surface. The existence of a formal memorandum, a structured roadmap, and an open partnership portal indicates that this is not an ad hoc ambition. It is anchored in a deliberate, state-backed framework. Yet the technical challenges of nuclear deployment, the necessity of international participation, and the parallel rise of Artemis introduce uncertainties that no document can resolve. If the International Lunar Research Station proceeds as envisioned, it will not simply reshape the lunar surface. It will test whether competing visions of space governance can coexist without undermining decades of cooperative precedent. The moon, once a stage for symbolic victory, may become the proving ground for a new era of strategic infrastructure. The question is no longer whether humanity will return to the moon. It is who will build there first, and who will write the rules once we do. So what do you think about Russia and China's moon base project? If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and maybe even share it with a friend. And for more content like this, subscribe to Lost Pages Studios. We appreciate your viewership and look forward to entertaining you in the future. Keep your eyes and your mind open, and watch out for our next episode.